so we're going to talk about our trip last summer, or this previous summer, to Rwanda, and the trigger of an idea. In November of 2005, at a dinner about the recent Rwandan genocide, Anne Heyman asked what the biggest problem Rwanda faces today, and immediately got the response of orphans. During the genocide, over 800,000 people were killed, mostly adults, leaving a ton of vulnerable children with no care. Anne immediately connected the orphan issue to Israel's biggest issue of orphans after World War II and the Holocaust. Anne was living in New York, working as a lawyer, and was a mom of 3. She led a very busy life, but somehow made the time to make this simple dream she came up with at a dinner table into a reality.
Making a dream into reality. Anne began reaching out to Israelis, Rwandans, and Americans, sharing her ideas. However, no one really showed much hope. They either told her she would never find enough money, she wouldn't find the people to support her doing this in Rwanda, but she kept pursuing because, just as Cameron talked about, she needed to use her persistence to finish her dream. She looked in Israel to find a sustainable model she could base her village in Rwanda off of, and came across Meadowbrook, which is a youth village started in Israel to help the same orphan problems they faced after World War II. And by 2007, Anne, along with an Israeli humanitarian organizations and the support of an American-based corporate partner, began constructing the village. She literally had to sit in the back of a truck and drive through barren farmland in Rwanda until she found the perfect home for the village. But she did this. Even with raising 3 kids in New York, she managed to do this. With the help of an entire building team native to Rwanda, which just exemplifies her value on self-sustainability, on December 15, 2008, the first 125 students made Agahozo Shalom their new home. And today, the Agahozo Shalom Youth Village is now an independent, nonprofit organization home to 500 incredible kids who started off in some of the most vulnerable situations imaginable and now will be graduating high school. Principles and goals of the village. Anne's goal was to create a village that would restore hope and opportunity to traumatized young lives. A place of learning and renewal, the village offers a safe, nurturing environment where Rwandan youth can gain the skills and self-confidence they will need to fulfill their individual potential and make an active contribution to a stronger, more peaceful Rwanda and the entire world. Anne understood that the village must equip these students with the support of a loving family, a structured education, and enriching extracurricular programs to achieve this goal. Some meaningful moments from our trip that have really stuck with all of us today. For me, one of the biggest ones was in the classroom experience, because it was easy for me to relate it to back home being in a classroom in my environment here. And to see these kids in this environment was really, really amazing. They were all so eager to learn and just so inquisitive about everything the teacher said, everything we said. But I think one of the biggest memories that sticks with me today and has had the biggest impact on me was that at the end of the class, the teacher dismissed all the kids, but no one would get up because they claimed that the class still had 5 minutes left. And I just compare this to at home when if the teacher were to dismiss us 5 minutes early, I think everyone would jump for joy out of the classroom. And this just reminds me to be so grateful for something like school, which sometimes seem like a hardship, or just an arbitrary everyday activity that I go to, but these kids really know how to be grateful for every single day and every single opportunity they're given. Another memory that I'll never forget was the conversations we had at meals, because during all 3 meals we were able to sit with anyone we wanted to and just engage in conversation about anything. And sometimes these conversations went to just be talking about Justin Bieber or Facebook, or just simple things that we were able to connect about by just being similar teenagers. And then sometimes it went through talking about the extreme differences we had in our lives, how they have come from some of the hardest, most unimaginable stories possible, and then they also wanted to know all about America and what I had come from. But more than anything, these conversations just remind me to be open, because I would have never learned as much as I did during these times if these kids hadn't been as open as they were with sharing their experiences. And they also just remind me that kids everywhere, from every side of the world, no matter what their backgrounds are all just kids, and we can connect and talk and become friends really over anything.
And some moments that really stood out to me was family time. And when the kids arrive to Agahozo, they're each given a family, which is where they can live and have a community outside of school that they can really depend on. And at family time, it was just, they were so interested in my life and just made me so comfortable, even though I had only met a couple of the kids who were in the family before. And also kind of one moment that was really special was I brought a Polaroid camera and I took a picture of every one of the kids, and they were just so grateful to have a single photo of them and with their friends, and they were all putting on makeup and getting dressed up. And it was just really special to see, and just how such a little thing makes such a big difference to them. And kind of another moment during the trip was when we participated in Tikkun Olam, which is the Hebrew word for repairing the world. And it's really important in the village because it's pretty much their form of community service. And I followed a couple of the Agahozo students to a local elementary school, and there they teach the kids English and also help out the teachers with their English. And I tried to teach one of the classes, and I did a really bad job. And really didn't. I tried to teach them head, shoulders, knees, and toes, and it just didn't work. And the Agahozo kids are just so good at what they did, and it just was so amazing to me to see these kids who are suffering from like such a recent genocide in their history go out and help kids from their local communities. And kind of the lasting impact that I think everyone felt as we were leaving Agahozo was just we felt selfish that we went in thinking we were gonna teach them so much, give them so much, when in the end they left us with 100 times more knowledge than we left with them. And I think kind of something to know about Agahozo is in Kenya, Rwanda, Agahozo means where tears are dried, and I think that really wraps up what the whole community is about, and just how they really just did amazing things for these children.
So now that you guys have heard how amazing this village was and how impactful it was on us, it's clear that Anne really did make her dream into a reality. She went from this simple idea that popped into her mind at a dinner table into everything that you see here, one of the most amazing places in the world. And when everyone else may have had this little idea and stored it in their back of their head and said, well, it could have been good, but I don't have enough time, or I don't have the money for it, or I can't figure it out, she really kept going through everything, and she just kept pursuing, and after every single step when people would tell her not to, or there were roadblocks along the way with building it and just getting the kids there, she kept going. So I think one of the most important things to take away from this presentation, and also for us from specifically Anne, is that you can't let the fear of failure stop you, and especially when you're working to help others, there's really no such thing as failure, because as Abby mentioned with the Tikkun Olam program, just having a conversation, like just giving someone a smile, is a way to help someone. So there's really no chance of failing at that. So you can't be afraid. If you ever have an idea like this, you should stick to it and not be afraid. And now that we're back from the village, sometimes it was hard to keep all these memories in mind once we had gotten back and got back into the daily routine of life here and going back to school and everything. But I always look for ways to stay connected to the village and ways to remind myself of everything that we learned there and all the impact it had on us, even if it's just a simple Facebook chat with one of the kids we had become friends with. I just always try and remind myself of all the things we learned there. And I think one of the best things I can do to help the village now is to simply increase awareness, and not only awareness so that they'll gain donations or have more people want to visit, but increase awareness so that more people will feel inspired to take the same risk that Anne did. And through this incredible, inspiring story of the creation, and now you can see how well it's worked and how many people can go and visit and stuff, it really just speaks to how endless the possibilities are of what we can do if we work as a global community to dream big and then do it and follow through just as Anne did.